कहते हैं कि 1950 के दशक में दिल्ली के मोती महल रेस्टोरेंट में कुछ रसोइयों ने बचे हुए तंदूरी चिकन को फेंकने के बजाय एक नए तरीके से इस्तेमाल करने का सोचा। तो उन्होंने उसमें डाला मक्खन, टमाटर और चिकन के रसों से बनी ग्रेवी, और यहीं से पैदा हुआ वो पकवान जिसे आज पूरी दुनिया बटर चिकन के नाम से जानती है। दिल्ली की यही खासियत है, यहाँ हर निवाला सिर्फ पेट नहीं भरता बल्कि आपको दशकों पुरानी कहानियों का स्वाद भी चखाता है। शाहजहाँ के दरबार की निहारी, चांदनी चौक की पराठे वाली गली, करीम के कबाब, यहाँ हर डिश अपने साथ सदियों का इतिहास और मेल मिलाप की यादें भी लाती है।
ये जहान अगर जिस्म है तो उस जिस्म की लाजमी रूह है दिल्ली। 7 बार बसी और 7 बार उजड़ी ये दिल्ली वो शहर है जिसकी हर दीवार पर वक्त ने अपनी दस्तक दी है। जहाँ की इमारतें निशानियाँ हैं उन सुल्तानों, बादशाहों और अंग्रेज़ों की जो अपनी रवायत छोड़ गए, जिसके बाज़ार आज भी चाँद से रोशन होते हैं। दिल्ली की कहानी है इन दीवारों की, इन बाज़ारों की और इन बाज़ारों की नस से ऊँची उन गलियों की जो आज भी भरपूर हैं, कभी चांदनी चौक के पराठों की खुशबू से तो कभी जामा मस्जिद की निहारी से। तो चलिए हमारे साथ इस महफिल से शहर का स्वाद चखें।
मराठा हाउस की हेरिटेज वॉक सोसाइटी आपको लेकर आई है इसी जायकेदार सफर पर, बिकॉज हियर फूड इज मोर देन जस्ट अ टेस्ट, इट इज हिस्ट्री, मेमोरी एंड द हार्ट बीट ऑफ द सिटी इटसेल्फ। और इस सफर के हमारे हमराही हैं सोहेल हशमी, एक हिस्टोरियन, सोशल एक्टिविस्ट और फिल्म मेकर, और दिल्ली की गलियों का वो नाम जो उनके खाने और यादों को जिंदा कर देता है। सर, अगर हम दिल्ली की गलियों में जाते हैं तो हमें काफ़ी सारे मशहूर फूड आउटलेट्स देखने को मिलते हैं, जैसे कि करीम्स, पराठे वाली गली, ओल्ड फेमस जलेबी वाला, और भी काफ़ी सारे। तो इन नामों और इनके पीछे की रेसिपीज़ के पीछे की क्या कहानियाँ हैं, और आपके अनुसार ये हमें दिल्ली की तहजीब के बारे में क्या बताती हैं?
देखिए, इसमें बहुत सारा जो है वो मिथ है। और एक तो खाने के बारे में ये साफ समझ लेना चाहिए कि लाइक एनीथिंग विच इज़ पार्ट ऑफ कल्चर, इसमें कुछ भी स्टैटिक नहीं होता, कांस्टेंट चेंज होता है। तो अगर कोई ये कह रहा है कि हम मुगलों का खाना सर्व कर रहे हैं, तो they are talking through their head, for the simple reason कि अगर आप दिल्ली के जितने भी पुराने शाहजहानाबाद में या पुरानी दिल्ली में जितने पुराने मशहूर रेस्टोरेंट्स हैं, वहाँ आप जाके खाना खाएं तो उनमें दो चीज़ें माफ होती हैं, चाहे वो करीम में खाएं, चाहे जवाहर में, चाहे अल जवाहर में, चाहे रहमतुल्लाह में, चाहे गरीब होटल में, किसी में भी। एक तो उसमें मसाले बहुत सारे होते हैं और दूसरे उसमें घी बहुत सारा, और मसालों में मिर्चें बहुत ज़्यादा होती हैं। तो ये मैं इसको सर्टिफाई करने को तैयार हूँ कि किसी मुगल ने यह खाना कभी नहीं खाया। दिस फूड डिड नॉट एग्जिस्ट इन द टाइम ऑफ द मुगल्स। There were no chilies in India before the 18th century. Chilies, or you would know that Portuguese, when they went to Mesoamerica, I was actually meeting some people from Mexico just before I came back home. So I was talking to them about where did chili come from, and it is from Mexico. पुर्तगाली उसको लेके हिंदुस्तान आए थे, एंड द पोर्चुगीज डिड नॉट ईट इट, दे ऑल्सो इंट्रोड्यूस्ड इट टू यूरोप, नोबडी इन यूरोप ईट इट, दे वर प्लांटेड एज shrubbery, because if you were to look for chilies in Google and select images, the kind of colors you will see you cannot imagine. Orange, crimson, mauve, brown, white, all kinds of colors, all shapes and sizes, and they don't grow one like that. Some of them grow upwards, some of them grow outwards like a hand, 15, 20 growing in one cluster, and some grow downwards. Some are long, some are short, some are like balls, all shapes and sizes. The Portuguese used to plant them as shrubbery because of the colorful fruit. And there was somebody who probably somebody from the community of fishermen who live on the west coast. And in Maharashtra, in that area, they are known as Ghatis because they live on the Ghats. Their women had started working in the houses of the Portuguese. And somebody, probably a woman, picked up one of these colorful fruits and ate it. And it burned her tongue. Because chilies have no taste. They burn your taste buds. And we learn to like that sensation. She introduced this chili to the Marathas. That is how chili got into the food of the Marathas when they came and occupied Delhi in the mid-18th century. That is when the chilies arrived. So that is the tail end of the Mughal Empire. And it would have taken time for chilies to be cultivated in a sizable scale so that they reached every kitchen. So there were no chilies. Then, throughout that period, and till fairly recently, till my childhood, there was no stainless steel for cooking. Now you have stainless steel pans and all that kind of thing, and non-stick and aluminium. None of that existed. You cooked in copper vessels or brass vessels, which had to be tinned. And how heat travels in a copper vessel is very different from the way how heat is conducted in an aluminium vessel or in a stainless steel vessel. All cooking, large scale cooking certainly, even small scale cooking, household cooking, used to happen on firewood. Who is using firewood now? And in the house of the royalty and the well-to-do, the only cooking medium, primarily cooking medium, was desi ghee. Who uses desi ghee now? You know. So this whole thing of traditional food, etc., is a whole lot of nonsense. It changes constantly. So what these people are selling as traditional food is food that is changing every day. And that is presented as traditional food. And you build the whole aura that we are royal cooks, this, that, and the other. And people buy that. So, traditional food is all marketing.
That is what I also wanted to say. कि is it also an effect of capitalism? क्योंकि food का market इतना competitive है कि लोगों को heritage से जुड़ा दिखाने के लिए खाने को ऐसा narratives बनाए जा रहे हैं.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, when you are looking at food that is sold in the old city, you have to keep this in your mind. There is a book called Waqiyat-e-Darul Hukumat Delhi, which was published in 1920, written by Bashiruddin Ahmad, and talking about Chandni Chowk and the market of the jewelers. He says that the entry from Chandni Chowk, there used to be a huge gate, and the gate used to be closed at night. The other end, which looks toward Jama Masjid, there was a huge gate. This was the market of the jewelers. The gate would be closed at night, and 2 guards were enough to guard the entire market. Yeah. When Nadir Shah and his soldiers came and sacked Delhi, they pushed down that gate and they looted this market. Bashiruddin Ahmad says, the base of the pillars that held the gate is all that remains. 1920 the pillars were there.
गलिया खाने की बात कर रहे हैं, लेकिन दिल्ली सल्तनत का खाना, यहाँ पे सब सल्तनत के दौर पे बस पॉलिटिकली चेंजेस नहीं आए थे. ईरानी, तुर्की, सेंट्रल एशिया से भी लोग आए थे, वो नए खाना बनाने के तरीके लाए होंगे. इस टाइम के खाने के बारे में हमें क्या पता है?
You see, I had gone to Uzbekistan. I've been there a couple of times, and I can make an assessment of what the Mughals were eating. It's not very exciting. There is a book that was published during this lockdown of COVID on the recipes of Shah Jahan's kitchen. This was a manuscript in Persian, somebody found it and translated it. She used to be a food consultant with ITC, and there was a soft launch of the book during COVID, with conversation between me and the translator and the author. And I found out that till Shah Jahan's time, there is no use of turmeric in the Mughal court. You can't cook any so-called Mughaliya dish without turmeric. They are dunking turmeric in everything. I found only one dish which you can find at Kareem or at Jawahar and all these restaurants, which does not use turmeric, and that is korma. Korma gets its color from caramelized onion. Okay, that is the only dish that does not. So that probably it has a connection to the Mughal court. There is something else which is sold as ishtu. Yeah. Now the ishtu has to be something that was cooked in the kitchen of the English. Stew. And how the European stew is cooked, all of you would know. You take all the whole spices and whatever vegetable and sausages and chunks of meat and all that, put everything together and you boil it and let it cook, and then you eat it with bread or without bread. It uses a lot of tomato. Yeah. Now tomato is not Indian, and the only traditional, so-called traditional food of old Delhi which uses tomato is the stew. Stew is not, tomato is not used in anything else. So that also gives you an idea that this is a new preparation. So you have to look at the ingredients and they tell you a whole lot of things, you know. So all of this is constantly evolving. And like food anywhere else in the world, it's changing. Now you're doing all your cooking in palm oil. There was no palm oil in Delhi till the mid-80s or late 70s. And quite a lot of us have now stopped using these refined oils and all that and have gone back to mustard oil. Okay. Now mustard is believed to be very old in India. But the black mustard and the white mustard originally are not Indian. They evolved in the Mediterranean. When they travel to India, one doesn't know. The Indian mustard has no oil in it, which is the rye, जिसे हम छोकने के लिए इस्तेमाल करते हैं. That is the Indian mustard. ये black mustard और white mustard वो बाहर से आए हैं. कब आए हैं पता नहीं. But it could be hundreds of years, it could be maybe a couple of thousand years, one doesn't know. You know, so it's constantly evolving.
सर अगर हम खाने की बात करते हैं तो वी आर नॉट श्योर कि कौन सी चीज़ें अभी की हैं और कौन सी पुरानी हैं, बट कुछ टेक्निक्स भी हैं जो कि मे बी पर्शियन कोर्ट से जब हुमायूं आए थे तो हिंदुस्तान आ गई, जो कि हमारे लिए तो नए इनोवेशन है, जैसे कि मीट को स्क्यूअर्स पे शेप करना. उनका क्या इन्फ्लुएंस हमको और भी जो टेक्निक्स है क्या हिंदुस्तान में हमको देखने को मिलता है?
You see, if you were to travel from Central Asia via Iran, Afghanistan, and come into what is now Pakistan, and then into Punjab, and then into Delhi, there is one thing that is common across this entire thing: tandoor. But you don't find tandoor in East UP, you don't find it in Bihar, you don't find it in Madhya Pradesh, etc. Now तो ढाबों में सब जगह पहुंच गया है. Sorry. बट ट्रेडिशनली वो नहीं था, ये वहाँ से आया है। दिल्ली में लार्ज स्केल यूज ऑफ तंदूर इज एज रिसेंट एज द पार्टीशन ऑफ दिस कंट्री, when the Punjabis came. With the Punjabis came the tandoor, and till the time I was in college it was fairly common. अब वो ख़त्म हो गया है हर मोहल्ले में, and especially localities where the Punjabis, refugees who had come were settled, हर मोहल्ले में एक औरत या एक आदमी होता था जो तंदूर जला के रखता था, और लोग उसके पास गुना हुआ आटा ले जाते थे, वो रोटी बना के दे देता था, और 5 पैसे या 10 पैसे पर रोटी देता था। कुछ आटा रख लेता था अपने लिए, 2 रोटी का आटा रख लेगा, कुछ रख लेगा। तो ये जो सारी कुकिंग तंदूर में है, स्क्यूवर्स के ऊपर तंदूरी चिकन और टिक्का और ये सब का सब, ये पोस्ट पार्टीशन, उससे पहले बहुत कम था। देन देर आर अदर थिंग्स एंड दे ऑपरेट इन स्ट्रेंज वेज। I don't, you are students of history, I don't have to tell you about caste. Because of caste, nobody ate outside. The upper caste people, पता नहीं किसने छुआ है, किसका बर्तन धोए, you know, तो आप बाहर नहीं खाते। And this was common. My father never ate outside, never. वो he had cousins in Delhi. We were in our childhood, we were in Aligarh, but every summer we came back. And at times he was going to meet somebody, so he would take me along. He will leave home after breakfast or whatever, and he will drink water, and then he will go to the cousin's house. On the way, there was no possibility of stopping and eating it. If you liked something in the market, you bought it and took it home. घर बैठ के खाते थे। सड़क पे खाना was infra-day. तुम्हारे घर में खाना नहीं, झगड़ा हो गया, माँ ने निकाल दिया, you know. And if you were seen eating outside by somebody who was elderly and knew your family, वो दुकान से उठा के एक थप्पड़ लगाएगा, घर चल, तेरे बाप को बता दूंगा। You know, you did not eat outside. So then what are all these eating joints for? It is people who came into the city for trade who will eat at these places. वो चादरा से आया है, गाजियाबाद से, मुरादाबाद से, मुजफ्फरनगर से, कहीं आया है, दिल्ली से सामान खरीदना है, घर में कुछ कंस्ट्रक्शन हो रहा है, बेटी की शादी है, कुछ जहेज खरीदना है, you know all that. So you are in the city for the whole day. If you were a Muslim, you went near Jama Masjid. If you were a Hindu, you went into the area जहाँ पर vegetarian खाना मिलता था. If you were a non-meat eating Hindu, then you would go to that area. So दरीबा में आज भी 2 दुकानें हैं run by Jain brothers, जहाँ पर खाने में ना लहसुन होता है ना प्याज होता है. So those people who have follow these the Jain regimen of food, they know those shops. There is Shuddh Shakahari, there is Marwadi Bhojanalaya. You go to those places for vegetarian food. And quite a lot of these came up with the railway. Railway आया और वो that railway station के सामने Queen's Road थी और उसके आगे series of hotels on what was known as the Church Mission Road. आगरा होटल था, पंजाब होटल था, several others, ताजमहल होटल था, and all of them were, you know, you would take a room and they were serving multi cuisine. मतलब multi cuisine means non-vegetarian, vegetarian, you know, सब करते. But this street food business is a post-independence thing. Because what happens after independence? Delhi की population 900,000 थी at the time of partition. 33% of them were Muslims. When the killings and the exodus ended, the percentage of Muslims had come down to 3%. And the population of those who came from what is now Pakistan, 800,000 migrants came to Delhi, in a city whose population was reduced to 600,000. 800,000 refugees came. Among them, there was a large number who were under the influence of Arya Samaj. And Arya Samaj had begun propagating the idea that the Aryans were vegetarians. So, पंजाब के खत्री घरों में मीट पकना बंद हो गया था. The men went out to eat. So, अमृतसर का जो स्ट्रीट फूड है, जलंधर का जो स्ट्रीट फूड है, लाहौर का जो स्ट्रीट फूड है, all that was a product of this, to my mind. And when they came here, they started looking for. They would go out to eat and also to drink. That is how chicken tikka masala, tandoori chicken, and Amritsari fried fish. Or
छोले and सफेद कुलचे they also came with.
छोले दिल्ली में थे, उसे मटरा कहते थे, हम छोला नहीं खाते थे. Another lentil जिसे मटरा कहते हैं, दिल्ली में उसको उबाल के खाते थे. They were not eaten with कुलचा, they were eaten just as they were. तो ये कुलचे जो हैं ये पंजाब से हैं. तंदूर का bulk of the tandoor food came from there, tandoori chicken came from there. तो ये सब नया आया. जैसे आज and you know we get caught in this trap. आज दिल्ली में more than any of the food of old Delhi, it is momo, it is chow mein, it is that वो जो होता है बिहार के लोग जो खाते हैं लिट्टी चोखा. हर मेट्रो स्टेशन के बाहर लिट्टी चोखा बिक रहा है. Why don't we talk about it? It is very much mainstream food in Delhi now.
Delhi is becoming a melting pot of all the.
Absolutely. Because you see, cities are made by migrants. There are no native populations in cities. And cities have to be by definition cosmopolitan. So the diversity of food that you will find here or in Bombay but actually I don't think you find the kind of diversity of food that you have in Delhi anywhere else. Because Bombay is still Marathi dominated. Madras or Chennai is Tamil dominated. Trivandrum is Malayali dominated. Calcutta is Bengali dominated. Delhi is no longer dominated by any community. We have 500,000 Tamilians living in Delhi, 500,000 Malayalis. 30% of the population of Delhi between 1970 to now is of those people who have come from East UP and Bihar. Maithili speaking people, Bhojpuri speaking people. So 30% obviously they are going to impact.
और सर खाना एक ऐसी चीज़ है जो लोग अपने वतन की याद अपने साथ लेके आते हैं. और जैसे वो अपने खाने को यहाँ दिल्ली में बनाते तो खाना उनका कैसे बदल रहा है. बीट द पंजाबीज और द बिहार से जो लोग आए हैं सबका खाना बदल रहा है. वो कैसे हम प्रोसेस देखते हैं.
नहीं वो तो you see वो बदलेगा. जैसे when Shahjahanabad is established in 1648, a fully developed urban culture from Agra is lifted and relocated in Delhi. So Shah Jahan is the ruler. He rules from Agra. He wants a larger city where he can organize his pageants. Agra had become very congested, so he organizes this new city. And large population from Agra is relocated. So an urban culture is transported here. He brings in with him he invites people from Kashmir to come to Delhi. He invites people from Rajasthan to come to Delhi, etc., 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 different parts of the country, because that is where the Mughal Empire had a presence. So people came from there. The nobility came from Rajasthan, they came from Kashmir, and they came from UP, and all of them settled down here. So that mixing happened. Now there was a sizable Kashmiri population in Delhi. उनके जो दो मोस्ट फेमस साग हैं वो दिल्ली में तो होते नहीं, सो उन्होंने कोई और साग इस्तेमाल करने की, so that is how it changes. You use what is available, what is closest to the taste that you are familiar with, and that is how food gets changed. अब दिल्ली के कायस्थों का खाना अलग है. There is food of the Delhi Baniyas and there is food of the Marwadi Baniyas. Both of them दिल्ली में है. तो ये खंडेलवाल्स फॉर एग्जाम्पल वो राजस्थान के हैं, वेरी वेल नोन फैमिली, द खंडेलवाल्स. Half the family was with the Hindu Mahasabha and therefore they are now with the BJP. The other half was with the Congress. Whoever was in power, these families were doing quite well. So they were influential families. They still continue to follow their old Marwadi recipes, though ingredients could have changed. दिल्ली के बनियों का खाना थोड़ा उससे अलग है, वो उस तरह का खाना पकाते हैं. All this is mixed, but you have दिल्ली के बनियों का खाना, मारवाड़ी बनियों का खाना, कश्मीरी ब्राह्मण्स का खाना, कश्मीरी मुसलमानों का खाना, कायस्थों का खाना, राजस्थान के कायस्थ भी हैं दिल्ली में, उनका खाना, so all this is mixing up. और उससे हर बार कुछ नया पैदा होता है. उनके खानों में भी चेंजेस हो रहा है, जो जनरल खाने पक रहे हैं वो भी चेंज हो रहे हैं. अब उसके अंदर लिट्टी चोखा भी मिल गया है. Now you have Lajpat Nagar noodles and you have Karampura noodles, you have Defense Colony momos and you have Marani Bagh momos, so all that is happening.
इवन दिल्ली का खाना जब बाहर जाता है, जैसे कि निहारी कोई मुझे बता रहा था कि अवध की जो निहारी होती है वो येलोइश होती है और दिल्ली की रेडिश ब्राउन होती है. तो यहाँ का खाना भी जब बाहर जा रहा है तो उसमें भी चेंजेस आ रहे हैं.
No, obviously, because you see वो अब लखनऊ वाले नाराज हो जाते हैं. When the Mughal Empire begins to collapse, that is when these people start breaking away. Awadh breaks away, Deccan breaks away, Bhopal breaks away. Earlier they were all part of the Mughal Empire. और वहाँ जो लोग रूल करते थे, they were part of the Mughal chieftains and all that. As the breakup begins and Delhi collapses and Awadh begins to rise, तो वहाँ पर वो नई रॉयल्टी है तो उनकी अपने अलग कुछ चीज़ें होती हैं. बट अब बिरयानी, अवध की बिरयानी अच्छी है या दिल्ली की बिरयानी अच्छी है या लखनऊ की बिरयानी अच्छी है, किसने पहले बिरयानी बनाई? दिस इज नॉनसेंसिकल डिबेट. बिकॉज फ्रॉम द टाइम दैट वी लर्न द आर्ट ऑफ मेकिंग फायर एंड द आर्ट ऑफ कुकिंग, and from the time that we made clay vessels in which we could cook, we have been cooking grains and meat together for close to 10,000 years. Rice and meat has been cooked together and it is cooked together all over the world. पुरशा में भी पकता है, सेंट्रल एशिया में भी पकता है, अरब में भी पकता है, लेबनान में भी पकता है, पैलेस्टाइन में भी पकता है, जलंधर में भी पकता है, लुधियाना में भी पकता है. You can keep on saying कि ये हमारी बिरयानी सबसे अच्छी है.
अभी जब आप बिरयानी की बात कर रहे थे, you said it's rice and grain, it's rice and meat cooked together. तो if at the end of the day हर जगह सेम ही चीज़, फिर भी हम जो रॉयल कोर्ट्स में खाना पकता है, शाही घरानों में खाना पकता है, उसको ज़्यादा सिग्निफिकेंस क्यों देते हैं?
देखो होता ये है कि to my mind the entire business of what we call cuisine, this is something that evolved in feudal period. In the capitalist period, cuisine develop करने का time किसी के पास नहीं है. It is the feudal ruler, the Nawab, the whatever, they don't have anything to do. They have been given a Jagir. वो जागीर को उनको एडमिनिस्टर करना है. They have been told this is the amount of tribute you have to pay to the king every year. They raise much more than that from the land that is given to them. And in times of war, they have to provide a number of cavalry or foot soldiers to the king. That is why they have been given this Jagir. Rest of the time when the war is not happening, all this money is there to be splurged the way they want to do it. It is in this time that they have this leisure. That you call your master chef. मैं वो पिछली बार हमने इसमें छोटी इलायची देखी थी, अब इस बार थोड़ा ज़ाफ़रान डाल के देखते हैं. You know, बटेर को ऐसे भूनते नहीं है, इस बार उसे शोरबे में पकाते. You know, you keep on doing this experiment and something works out and you say, हाँ हमारे घर में ऐसे पकेगा, कबाब ऐसे बनेगा. ये धीरे धीरे develop होता है. Now, the poor can't afford this luxury. तो boiled rice and boiled dal, उसमें कितना कमाल कर लोगे? You know, that is what the poor eat. So, celebrate तो वही होगा ना जो feudal decadence में जो develop होता है. And it is not only food that evolves. It is also classical music that evolves in that time. It is also this art of making perfumes, you know. So despite all the obnoxious system that feudalism is, it is the feudal lord who has the time and luxury to indulge himself in this. What he creates, eventually using the genius of his cooks and his artisans and all that, that finally becomes part of your culture, and that is what gets celebrated.
So then can we say that food is also an indicator of social stratification?
Absolutely, absolutely. What the poor eat, what the middle classes eat, and what the privileged eat, you know. I was just reading, there is one of the most expensive ice creams. It is actually gold foil, you know, and you know, it can cost you a kingdom to eat that, you know. But वो ice क्यों खा रहे हो, you know? It is sheer decadence, you know. But वो हो रहा है. You have that kind of money, so you do it. You know? So compared to that is somebody who's, you know, foraging the trash can, you know, to save some morsels for his family. We only talk of that. जो खाना 5 course, 10 course का आता है, but the poor have never seen that kind of food. They can't even imagine. You know? But coming back to the question that you were asking earlier, this influence that starts coming in, this brings in a whole lot of things. With tandoor comes also what is known as the leavened bread. Khameer ki jo roti hoti hai. There was this friend of mine who had 3 sons and he adopted a girl child. So उसके नामकरण के लिए उन्होंने दावत की थी. Old Lucknow family, but they've been living in Delhi for decades now. So he asked me for help because all their extended family was descending. So he said, we want to show them कि दिल्ली का खाना क्या होता है. सब लखनऊ के ताल्लुकेदार थे. So I said, you send your sons with me and I'll give them duties, who has to do what. So the eldest son, who was very keen in food, I took him to a fellow who makes tandoori roti. And I said, you have to sit here. And when he has finished making your roti, we'll give them to you, then you bring them to this meeting point. सो ही आस्क्ड हिम कि आप कितनी तरह की रोटियां पकाते हैं? तो he said, मियाँ ऐसा करो, एक दिन सुबह आ जाओ और शाम तक मेरे साथ बैठो, मैं इस तंदूर में 46 तरह की रोटियां बनाता हूँ, 46 काइंड्स ऑफ ब्रेड, उन सब के इंग्रेडिएंट्स वही हैं, आटा है, थोड़ा सा घी है, दूध है, थोड़ी सी चीनी, दी प्रोपोर्शंस वेरी, और कितनी देर गूंद के आटा रखना है, कितनी देर खुला रखना है, कितनी देर ढक के रखना है, कितनी देर आंच देनी है, कैसी आंच देनी है। तो उसमें बाका खानी भी बनेगी, शीरमाल भी बनेगा, ताफ्तान भी बनेगा, कुलचा भी बनेगा, तंदूरी रोटी भी बनेगी, मीठी रोटी भी बनेगी, दूध की रोटी भी बनेगी उसी तंदूर में। तो ये जो पूरी की पूरी टेक्नोलॉजी है, ये तंदूर के साथ है और स्टेजेस में आई होगी, बिकॉज जो अफगानी रोटी यहाँ जंगपुरा में मिलती है और लाजपत नगर में मिलती है, वो हमारे शीरमाल से बिल्कुल अलग है, हमारी दूध की रोटी से बिल्कुल अलग है। पुरानी दिल्ली में जो कुलचा मिलता है, इट इज टोटली डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द कुलचा दैट यू ईट विद योर छोलास, इट्स अ टोटली डिफरेंट थिंग। सो ये तंदूर और तंदूर के साथ की कुकिंग, सीख के ऊपर, स्कीवर्ड्स के ऊपर, ये सारी की सारी टेक्नोलॉजी और पकाने का तरीका वहाँ से आया। एंड देन इन ईच एरिया पीपल एडिड देयर ओन, सो उसमें वेरिएशंस अलग अलग पैदा हो गई। अब लखनऊ की शीरमाल मेरी समझ में नहीं है, जिसको वो शीरमाल कहते हैं, पर लखनऊ में वही शीरमाल मिलती है। देयर इज अ कुलचा दैट यू गेट इन कश्मीर, you don't get it anywhere else in Kashmir, in India. It's a very crisp biscuit, और उसके ऊपर बहुत सारे तिल के बीज चिपके हुए होते हैं, and you eat it with chai. And if you go to somebody's house and they give you just tea, then you are being told that you are not welcome. Without saying a word, if they just give you tea they'll give you. But if it is just tea, it means you are not welcome. Unless it is covered with a kulcha. उसे ढक के देते हैं, then it means you are welcome.
दिल्ली अगर हिंदुस्तान का दिल है तो दिल्ली का दिल है उसका खाना। ये वो शहर है जो एक खुली दहलीज रहा है उन दूर दूर से आने वाले लोगों के लिए, जो अपने साथ लाए अपनी तहजीब और अपनी रसोइयाँ, भले ही वो निहारी हो या कबाब। आज हमारा दिल्ली की गलियों तक का सफ़र इतना ही रहा। मैं और मेरी हमराही श्रेया आपका शुक्रिया अदा करते हैं। फिर मिलेंगे किसी और किस्से के साथ।